From pothole repair to the quality of the water that we use in our homes, unfortunately, these are some of the things that we kind of take for granted on a daily basis through our lives. But the truth is, this is someone's full-time job to make these things happen. And that's what we're doing today. We're going to spotlight the work that the men and women of our public works departments and utilities departments do. So welcome to Live and Local Spotlight on Public Works and Utilities. Welcome to Live and Local, Spotlight on Public Works and Utilities. We are joined in this beautiful Ramsey facility, and we have some friends with us today. Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, real good.
Thanks for being here. We have Shane, Mike, and John. Appreciate you joining us today. Thank you for all your hard work that you do in the city of Ramsey. So we'll just kind of go down the line, starting with Shane to Mike to John. Shane, how long have you been with the city of Ramsey, and what is your job title here?
Been with Ramsey for 11 years, and I am the streets supervisor.
Okay.
So I'm the park supervisor, and I've been here over 20 years.
20 years. So we got 11 years, we got 20.
Well, utilities supervisor, been here for 27 years.
Wow, there we go. So you guys, this is not your first rodeo. You guys are veterans here at the city of Ramsey. So thank you for joining us on the show today. Just kind of walk us through some of your day-to-day duties. We'll start with John. 27 years, holy crap. That is a long time. So kind of walk me through some of your day-to-day duties.
Well, I guess arrive in the morning, and the first thing I do in my department with the sewer and water department is I view our SCADA system. Our SCADA system runs our water and sewer entire system, and I monitor that and see where we're at and how much water demand we're going to have for that day, and meet with the crew. I meet with my lead person right away, and we hand out job duties for the rest of our crew and send them on their way. And at the end of the day, we're wrapping up and talking about our day and what has to be done, what was finished, and what wasn't.
Mike, kind of walk me through some of the things you do on a day-to-day basis.
We have 26 parks in Ramsey. And we have 18 playgrounds. So pretty much on a regular basis, I got to get to these parks, not daily, but pretty much all the time. And I got to be able to see what kind of maintenance needs are needed at each one. And, there's just so many different things that can be needed. So, and then I'm same as John, I get together with my lead guys and we figure out who needs to go where and get the proper people to do any kind of maintenance needs or dragging ball fields or whatever. So kind of the same thing, just working with the lead people and getting everybody assigned and getting them into the right direction.
Wow. So. 26 parks,
26
18 playgrounds.
18 playgrounds, yeah.
Wow, that is no easy task.
It takes a lot, and then we got to get to all of them and inspect them all the time. So
yeah. So how many crew members are we talking?
We have 7 full-time staff plus my lead guy, and then we have seasonals in the summertime. So
okay.
We have about 15 people right now that we can get out there working on it. So.
And then Shane, how about you? Just kind of walk me through some of the things you do on a day-to-day basis.
Day-to-day basis, we start out, checking messages. Our functions are weather-driven, and with the storms that we've had, trees down, that's a major goal, to clean trees up, and we're actually out there today as well, still cleaning up from the storms that we just recently had. So that's one of many tasks, what's pressing, what needs to be done, and again, it's all weather driven. Is it wet out? We can't go patch roads, in the rain, so, then we run into stormwater. And I also oversee the sign shop and the maintenance for all the city fleet, and so I have one lead in the mechanic shop and one lead for the streets that help out on them day-to-day tasks and prioritizing, what needs to be done first.
Nice. So when you say sign shop, that's like where the stop signs are made, the no U-turn signs, things of that nature?
Yep,
Or you...
all of your street signs,
signs.
Within the
Okay.
city, anything that has to do with a street sign, it is made here in-house.
Very cool. Well, I want to pivot to this incredible facility that we're sitting in. I was pretty blown away when I first walked in here. But before we get to the actual facility that we're sitting in, so it's been here 3 years, John? Is that correct? About 2022, roughly, when this facility opened. Talk about the process of, transitioning from what you guys were doing before to this facility. Kind of walk me through how that transitional process looked like.
Yes, thank you. So, like in the past, prior to this building, we had 4 different facilities that we would have equipment in. Streets and parks were in basically a double-wide trailer. That was their office. Utilities was separate. We were across the street in another small building. So equipment was spread all over the place. We parked our equipment and everything was put in all of our water towers. Everything was so spread apart that there wasn't a whole lot of functionality with the way we were operating. So once we got this facility and moved everything under the cover of one building, it just made efficiencies and speaking with everybody, trying to figure out who needs what piece of equipment on that day. It's been great.
Yeah, and not to mention communication too, I bet.
Oh, for sure.
You and I were talking before we sat down how much easier it is to communicate with your colleagues now that you're kind of under one
Absolutely.
roof, no pun intended. And looks like they have some other facilities being built here on campus, which will just add to that appeal, right?
Yep.
Nice.
I mean, we each have our own bay now, so that we can store our own stuff in our own bay and our own equipment. So it's made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Than what we came from.
Makes you look forward to work a little bit.
We went from sharing 3 chainsaws, throughout all departments to our own bays and now our own equipment, and it has really changed.
Wow. So you don't have to share chainsaws anymore. You each got your own chainsaw? Mm-hmm. Nice. Everybody needs their own chainsaw.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the facility itself. I'm going to pick on Mike a little bit, if that's okay, and anybody else can jump in. Mike, just kind of walk us through briefly about this incredible facility that we're sitting in.
Like John said, we came from this other place, and we had like 2 buildings over there that we had all our equipment in, and plus several other spots. And to be able to get all our equipment over here and have everything right here, so that we can, start of the day, it's like we can go out and find out what's here and who's using what. It's really easy to do.
Yeah.
And it's made things a lot easier. Yeah. And we work with each other. We work with departments. We do cross-training with each other, and we give each other help when they need it. And just everybody being in this building has just made a world of difference for us.
Yeah. It's so clean. Who cleans? Is that you, Shane? Do you clean, or is it just a group effort?
It is a group.
Yeah, okay.
It is a group effort.
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for all the hard work you do in the City Ramsey. Thank you for hosting us here today. We really appreciate it. And it was nice to have a little breeze coming. I'm glad we did it today and not last week. So, Shane, Mike, and John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The City of Ramsey, they have some good news. Triple threat. We have a Quick Trip, a Taco Bell, and a Chipotle coming. The residents of Ramsey, they seem like they're going to be pretty spoiled coming up. So Winter put together this video, so let's take a look.
You might not believe me if I said that I was standing in a brand new Chipotle. And you'd be right, because this is currently an undeveloped plot of land. Oh, but wait. I said currently an undeveloped plot of land. If you stick around, you might just see some changes.
I do want to give a shout out to Capital Real Estate Group. That is the group and the developer for both the Taco Bell and Chipotle projects. And this project is situated at the northeast corner of Sunwood Drive and Armstrong. Site is going to be accessed from 2 locations, one off the roundabout and one off of Armstrong Boulevard. With the closing scheduled on Friday, it's very likely that construction will start on both Taco Bell and Chipotle within the month. with hopes that it opens up prior to Christmas. So it'll be two great additions to the community. And again, I think excellent use of kind of a remnant parcel from the city's core development that we were able to work with, again, Capital Real Estate to find a really, really good solution to maximize the restaurants and the development on this corner.
With construction on Highway 10, it might seem like the entire city is full of orange cones, but planning manager Todd Larson is confident that this development will have minimal impact on traffic flow.
There should be very minimal impacts to the surrounding roads. There'll be some times when the curbs are removed to create the driveways and the turn lanes, so it might be just down to one lane for a day or two here and there. But for the most part, all the construction activities should be accomplished on site. Well, all three of these new businesses, Chipotle, Taco Bell, and Quick Trip, know that their customers are going to come from all sorts of different means, not just by car, so they want to be accessible to the folks who are walking over from their neighborhood nearby or ride their bikes, as they want to be part of the neighborhood, not just the community.
This Quick Trip will be what the developer is calling their Gen 3 model, with a clean, fresh look on the inside and 9,000 square feet of retail space.
With the Quick Trip development in Ramsey here, you're seeing their new third generation store. So it's a larger store than some of the other Quick Trips you might see around. It's a little bit over 11,000 square feet. And again, located right at the southwest corner of Bunker and Armstrong. Great visibility, and will definitely provide for our industrial park just to the west of there, probably for quick lunches and whatever they need.
Planning Commissioner Randy Bauer is especially keen to see this project come to fruition and mentioned his enthusiasm during a recent Planning Commission meeting.
I have been on our economic developer's case since he started here to get Quick Trip in Ramsey, and on our community development director since she got here, since they both were successful getting them in other communities. And since this is only a mile from my house, I am happy to make the motion to recommend to the City Council approving Resolution 25-086, approving a conditional use permit for a motor fuel station and car wash at 8040 Bunker Lake Boulevard, Northwest.
As Ramsey is a growing community, Quick Trip, Taco Bell, and Chipotle are just the beginning to restaurant and shopping expansion within the city.
One thing you see with development is development typically breeds more development. So we talked about rooftops bringing restaurants. Well, kind of with that, restaurants will bring more restaurants. So if we look over across the street, we're also working with the developer over there as well, and likely might see something heading to Planning Commission, maybe over the winter or sometime early spring, but stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to the show. Switching gears to the city of Andover, we are joined by Jason Baumung. Thank you, Jason, for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you are the Parks and Streets Operations Manager. Did I get that?
Yep, that's correct.
Excellent. How long have you been with the city of Andover?
For about 6.5 years now, I've been at Andover. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I know one thing, and this is not exclusive to the city of Andover. This is something that I've noticed even in the city of Champlin, where specifically that I cover, is residents want to know how city projects get chosen.
Yep.
You know, what is the process? Why this one? Why not that one? Why didn't you pick the, you know? So Andover might be a little different than another city. Walk me through your process in the city of Andover.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people just assume the oldest roads just get reconstructed first. You know, and it's a call I get frequently, because really we're trying to balance preserving roads and then to a point where they have to be reconstructed. So if we just went with the oldest approach, looking at the city system-wide, we would fall behind. So we take the approach, which a lot of cities do, of a mill and overlay program, which is usually a candidate falls in like the 20 to 24-year-old, like at kind of the older end, where you can just mill off the driving surface of the road, make some minor improvements, maybe to the curb lines, to catch basins, things like that, improve drainage, and then you're paving a new wear course, that layer that you're driving on. In comparison to a reconstruction, very inexpensive, and also extends the life of the road immensely. So sometimes you'll see a 35-year-old road not getting reconstructed, but right next to it, a 22-year-old road is getting a new surface. Generates a lot of phone calls, but really overall it extends the life of all the roads through the city. kind of a key that we've really pushed in the last 3-4 years is really trying to preserve roads and then balance that with the reconstructions that need to happen. So.
Well, and one thing that's, not specifically unique to Minnesota, but I would say pretty dominant in the Midwest is snow and ice.
Absolutely.
And that does not make your jobs any easier.
No.
I know that's not listed on my sheet here. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. How does that affect your job a little bit when it comes to winter snow and ice?
So that can actually change a road project's timing quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we usually do things in a 5-year capital improvement plan. So we have the next 5 years of projects identified. The first one, year 1 and 2 are pretty solid. These are projects we're going to do. Those years 3 through 5, and actually not on paper, we have out to year 8, year 20. A bad winter can really affect a road that's starting to fail. A very wet, kind of warm winter with a lot of freeze thaw can actually change projects. So we've had roads that move up a couple years. That's why I always like to tell people it's in the plan for this year, but that it's reevaluated every year. Sometimes that can change by a year or 2, sometimes by 3 or 4 years. With the weather conditions, it is not easy on a road. And once that surface is opening up and you're allowing moisture to get down in there, sometimes roads really can fall apart quickly. So.
Yeah, the one thing that I think about with these things is, say what you will about social media, but one of the good things about social media is you can add additional communication to residents on why you're doing this. I know you guys hold open houses and city meetings, council meetings, parks and recreation meetings, which we'll get to in a little bit, but communication's key too. So when you do have that resident driving down that road that might have some potholes or might be banged up, they're like, why didn't they do this road? It's like, well, now you know why. There's a process to it, and you're one of the guys that helps make those decisions. So
yeah, that's a big part of my role through the springtime is helping to put together that next 5-year plan and determining which ones get a mill and overlay, which ones we can actually leave the curb line, just take all the asphalt out, or which ones need a full reconstruction, improve the utilities underground, new curb lines, everything else. So it's actually one of my favorite parts of this role because really it has a huge impact on the residents.
And I'm sure they appreciate the hard work you're doing. So I just want to pivot a little bit, still sticking with streets and roads, obviously. Roundabouts, it's always a fun topic. Some people love them, some people hate them, and everybody's got an opinion one way or the other. But it sounds like there's a couple of those projects happening right now.
Currently right next to our Public Works Department, we have 2 roundabout projects going, joint with Anoka County on one of them, at Crosstown and Nightingale. And then just a block up from that, we have one at Nightingale and Veterans Memorial Boulevard. Both of those received federal funding. And really one of the big reasons, like the one on Nightingale and Veterans Memorial, it's the increased safety for pedestrians crossing the road. It's not only traffic calming, but it gives pedestrians an option to cross much safer. They have a lot less roadway to cross. They have a safe harbor in the middle. And it slows the motorists down where they do cross. So yeah, currently we do have 2 projects underway. They're probably halfway done. The goal is to have them open by the start of school, and we had a meeting yesterday, and they're both still on schedule. So we're hoping to get done in time for school to start. So.
Yeah, I am pro roundabout. I love a good roundabout. Winter, who I'm sure you've met before, she did a really good story on how to use roundabouts, which I thought was really clever. Well, I just want to wrap up with budgets. Doesn't sound like the most exciting thing, but it's very important, obviously, to every city, and Andover is no stranger to budgets. So I just want to pivot to 2026 budgets and, kind of your role with that, and how does that play in with the Parks and Recreation Commission? So kind of walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, so most cities, like I said, have a capital improvement plan. Well, that plan is, for us, is mostly put together now for 2026 to 2030. It's been to council. They've had a chance to look at it, have discussions and workshops on it. So really, we're planning 5 years ahead. So our 26 budgets are really getting finalized now. A lot of that happens at the Park and Recreation Commission. That commission really determines what improvements get made in our park systems. When new homes are built in the city, there's funds collected for new improvements in parks as part of the development process. So the commission really has a lot of input on how that money gets spent. And that's a really good way for residents, if you live near a park or have ideas, attending these Park and Rec Commission meetings. They're very low stress and welcoming environment. It's a lot of discussion. It's not very stiff and formal. It's a great way for residents to get opinions and let us know what they want to see in the parks. So a lot of those items then get planned for the next 5 years, gets put into the budget process that way. So
I bet the word pickleball comes up a lot.
that is a frequent call that I get.
Yeah.
And Andover does have a number of indoor pickleball courts.
Yeah.
But obviously when you have days like today when it's not so hot and humid, people would like to see them outside as well. So yeah, that's definitely a point of discussion often.
Absolutely. So. Jason, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for your hard work in the city of Andover. It does not go unnoticed, and we appreciate you swinging by today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for City of Ramsey to have us in their new Public Works facility. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. First time I've been here, so thank you.
Completely agree. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate it. All right, now Leslie put this story together. There are some picnic shelter reservation opportunities in the city of Andover, so we're going to go to that video right now.
Hey guys, I'm here in Andover at Pine Hills North Park, home of soccer fields, soccer games, big smiles. There's a playground too, trails, you name it. And now you can add a newly constructed park shelter that is reservable. If you want to host your next barbecue, birthday, or get together, you name it, this is a perfect place, especially in summer. Now this shelter is reservable for Andover City residents or groups that serve the city of Andover. You can apply in person at City Hall or visit the website where they have the application to reserve the facility. It's reservable for a 4-hour time period, which is a good amount of time for a party or a gathering. You've got picnic tables to fit about 50 people under the covered area, with a handful of parking spots just right there for easy access. You can wheel up your supplies. It has 2 bathrooms on location. If you're planning on bringing a crock pot or serving up a buffet, there's a prep area that has a sink, countertop, and service window with plenty of outlets to plug in those party essentials. They have some permanent grills here, so bring your charcoal, grill up some nice food, and share it with others. Now, speaking of food, if you don't want to be doing all the grilling and making things yourself, good news, you can actually have a food truck here at your event. Just make sure the food truck has a food truck permit through the city. All right, with reserving a city park, you have to remember there are rules to make sure it stays nice and clean and for everyone, for the next person down the line. So let's talk rules real quick. No alcohol, no bounce houses, clean up when you're done, extinguish your coals if you did some grilling, and wipe down the tables. Pick up after yourself, essentially. Well, thanks for coming to the park with me today to check out this new shelter that is reservable. And remember, if you want to reserve a park shelter in your city, contact your city hall, check out their city website, see what there is. And remember, city parks are your parks. So treat them well, and then they will be here for sunny days to come.
Job title?
Public Works Director.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Chris Rackner from Champlin Public Works. I'm biased, but Chris, you're my favorite.
I don't know about that, but...
Well, we've worked together for a long time.
Yes.
Many, many years that I've known you, and
yes.
I'm grateful that you swung by today, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Chris, what is your job title at the City of Champlin?
I am the Public Works Director.
So you're the Public Works Director, but I just found this out recently. There is a difference between Champlin Public Works and Champlin Utilities.
Yeah, at Champlin, we're structured a little bit different than most. Utilities is separate. They work directly with engineering. And then Public Works, we work as a separate unit. We do share employees at times. We do share staffing in times of need, snow plowing and items like that. We do have definitely different duties, but we do share some as well. So it's a little different. The other piece of that puzzle that's different, we also are the Parks Maintenance Department. And we have storm sewer in our department, and just to be really unique, we have a city cemetery. So we have a lot of unique pieces to our puzzle.
Yeah. I remember doing a story with Jake, who left, I think, just this past year on the cemetery, and he was the guy in charge of the cemetery. I had no idea. I'm like, that was a really cool story.
Yeah, it's a sense of pride for the Public Works group. It's one place that we really connect with the community. We have a lot of people that we've met over the years working with them in their time of need, and I think it's kind of a unique coupler for the Public Works Department and the residents to work in such a unique fashion. But I think it's good for us.
Yeah,
I think we really take a lot away from that sense of accomplishment type stuff. So
absolutely. Well, the picture we're painting here is you guys do a lot of different things. There's a lot of moving parts that takes a lot of hardworking staff members.
It does.
And a lot of time and coordination and communication. So let's just start with Public Works. Throw me a couple of examples of some stuff that you guys would do at Public Works.
Obviously, like I mentioned, we work both in street maintenance and park maintenance. We have daily lists of anything from ball fields to irrigation to upkeep in the park system as a whole. We also obviously take phone calls on potholes, and we do work on street maintenance, and we do coordinate with Park and Rec. Public Works is also unique where we support all their big events and all their big programs. Public Works does like our Father Hennepin Festival. All of the infrastructure for that is set up by Public Works. So we kind of have a wide variety, and I think that's one of the things that the Public Works staff enjoys is we have a pretty good variety of things that we do.
Absolutely. Well, and we're in this beautiful facility. And by the way, if you're hearing background noise, this is a living, breathing facility, and people have to continue, speaking of doing their job, right?
Right. Public Works never sleeps.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. Well, I hope you get to sleep at some point. But okay, well, let's switch to utilities because we did mention those are different. Let's skip talking about water quality and water towers because we're going to see a video on that in a second. But what are some other things that like the utilities department would do?
Our co-workers in utilities, they're mostly sewer, water infrastructure, streetlight infrastructure. They do all the locate work, and we do share some working with them. Big projects, we help them flush, we help them do things like that. Their biggest project is water treatment. The plant that they run is very technical. It's a big, actually 2 plants that they run are very technical. It's quite a process, and that's probably one of the biggest difference if you talk to a utility operator in Champlin versus a Public Works operator is working knowledge of the water treatment plant.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I had the good fortune of spending time with Dave and his crew and watching what they do on a day-to-day. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I don't want to spoil it because we're going to see a video in just a second here.
Sure.
But I know you said the P word, potholes.
Yep.
Is that the most thing that you get phone calls on? Is there something that you hear?
Not really.
No? Okay.
Fortunately, I think we're making headway. Champlin was built, a large portion of Champlin was built in a very short period of time. So we have a lot of streets that are maturing and aging out at the same time, plus a lot of other factors. So we have been doing a lot of replacements in the last few years. So pothole calls are actually going down.
That's good.
I think we have an internal system where people can actually, they don't have to call in, they can email in, which helps us sort things out easier. But
it's nice.
We do get a handful of them, and it's still a big challenge, but we pretty much have a patch crew on the road every day that it's not raining.
Yeah. So you mentioned the patching. Obviously, that's that's to fix the issue. Do you guys do anything preventative measures? Before winter hits.
We preventative-wise is not necessarily preventative towards the existing potholes, but going forward, working with engineering, which both utilities and Public Works works directly with our engineering group. We're looking at some new processes and new surfaces. We're getting away from some of the older technologies and seal coating and looking to some of the microsurfacing products and microsealing products and stuff like that. So a lot of those can be helpful to stretch the life of a street out, to get away from a few potholes for a few years, and help take the kind of the brunt of it to help slow things down a little bit so we can get caught up. So we are looking at a lot of new technologies, and it's definitely interesting in my tenure. It's changed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the chance to hang out with you, I think, a couple years ago, watching the process
Yep.
of repairing. And, you know, I think the good news is I think residents do understand that, you know, winter is very brutal on our roads.
It is very difficult, and the salt sand mix or melting water basically in the wintertime, it refreezes in the potholes and the cracks, and it makes a mess. People are pretty responsive. They understand what we're up against, especially if you communicate with them.
Right.
So.
That's good. That's good news. Well, thanks for going out there and fixing those potholes. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
I have one last question. This was one of my favorites that we kind of snuck in at the end.
Okay.
That I actually wish I would have asked the guys at Andover and Ramsey, but we'll kind of tie it all together. But how can residents, you know, help you and your crew? What are some things that they can help you with?
The biggest thing is when you call in or email in, and don't be afraid to. We respond to all calls. We check out all messages or all complaints. Don't be afraid to let us know something's up or something doesn't right. Give us plenty of information, phone call, address, anything you can help us to get it zeroed in, which makes it more efficient for us. But one of the biggest things is just let us know. Give us a call before you're upset.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Be patient.
Well, that too, but no. Get us as much information as possible.
Yeah.
So.
And Chris, forgive me if I asked you this at the front of the show, but you've been with the city for 28 years?
Yes, sir.
28 years. Wow. Well, congratulations. And that is all the questions I have for you. Thank you so much. It's I've loved working with you over the years, and I hope to continue doing that. And we appreciate you swinging by.
I appreciate the invite.
All right.
You make it easy.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris. We appreciate it. And I did spoil it a little bit, but I had a chance to hang out with some of the amazing crew members from the utilities department in the city of Champlin, as well as Ashley Wagner from the communications department. But anyways, that's enough out of me. Let's just watch the video. Today we're paying tribute to the Champlin Utilities Department.
Great group of guys to work with, no complaints, got great mentors.
These guys play a critical role in residents receiving clean and accessible water in their homes. So we have a couple things going on today. We have Ashley Wagner from the Champlin Communications Department, who's getting a safety briefing as she prepares to climb all the way up the water tower with the Utilities Department. Hey, just a couple fun facts about water towers in Champlin. Also known as hydro pillars, hold 1 million gallons of water. But here's the thing. There are 2 water towers in Champlin, which equals 2 million gallons of water. So, as Ashley climbs the tower today, we're going to use this as a visual representation on how water starts from underground aquifers in a well house all the way to these 2 towers. So let's turn on Ashley's GoPro.
Hit record on this.
And we have friend of the show, Champlin Utilities operator, Jeremy Gaffey. Jeremy's going to walk us through exactly how residents get their water.
And that's pretty much how you get your water.
Wait, Jeremy, you started at the end. Let's rewind and start over.
We're at the well house earlier. That's the first part. That's where we get our water. All of the water in Champlin comes from underground aquifers. So we are 100% well water community, unlike some that are surface water. So water gets pumped from the wells to either one of the 2 treatment plants, treatment plant 1 or 2. At that point, it is treated with some chemicals to remove the iron and manganese from the water. So prior to hitting the filter, it gets a couple of chemicals to oxidize the iron and manganese.
From the water treatment plants, the water is sent through a filtration system that I was fortunate enough to visit, and it's remarkable to see the process. The city of Champlin really has a thorough process to treat this water and to remove any harmful chemicals or bacteria that may be present. The water then passes through a clear well for storage. So let's go back to Jeremy to learn what happens when the water reaches the towers.
Whatever does not get consumed out in the system fills up the water towers. So the water towers are just a part of that system. And so they're just storing the excess. That water is pumped up to a level of probably 140 feet in the air. And that elevation of water gives us our water pressure. So that water pressure is 0.433 psi per foot, so of elevation. So depending on where your house is in respective to the tower determines what your water pressure is going to be. So at the base of the tower, we're probably around 60 psi. But if your house is at a level that's a little bit lower than the tower, your pressure is going to be a little bit higher. In places in the southwest end of town, your pressure is going to be a little bit lower because you're higher elevation than what the base of the tower is. And that's pretty much how you get your water.
So when you get up here, reach over to this.
Got it. Oh my gosh.
You're on top of the world.
Oh my gosh.
Disconnect it.
It's beautiful.
Pull this onto the D ring.
So the next time you use water in your home, now you know how and where it comes from. And maybe the next time you see a Champlin Utilities operator, hey, just give them a smile and maybe thank them for their hard work in the city of Champlin. Welcome back to the show. Joining us now, Public Services Administrator Lisa Lacoste. I think I nailed it, but I kind of screwed it up at the end, but I did my best. Did I get there?
Yep, you're
I
good.
got there.
You're
Okay,
good.
sounds good. So we're here to talk about the Rum River. Lots of stuff going on. I think I mentioned before we sat down, one of my favorite things to do for me is, like, if I ever fill in for Billy at the City of Anoka, I always like to walk down first, check out the dam, check out the river before I go back up the steps. By the way, Billy has the best view in the control room.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
yes,
we won't get into the Champlin control room, but anyways, I want to start with the river walk.
Yes.
Do you want to just kind of walk me through that portion of the project?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's on the west bank of the Rum River. The project began was conceptualized back in 2016 with a revisioning of kind of the west entrance or the gateway into Anoka. So the city actually purchased a series of properties between the Woodbury House and Walker on the River apartment complex, and around the amphitheater there. And as you know, along that side of the river, we have the Stone House, the amphitheater, and then the Giddings Gardens are also in that area. So there's three historic prominent features for Anoka on the West Riverbank. So what we've constructed now with that portion of the trail, it's about a 1,400, 1,600 foot trail, so not extensively long at this point, but it is just phase one of many phases to come. Eventually, we hope to connect it to go north underneath the Main Street Bridge up to the dam and south along Ferry Street towards the city of Champlin. So this is, like I said, just phase one. It's a cute little loop, and it's best accessed from the east side of the river at Aiken Riverside Park, because there's not parking along Ferry Street, but you can get to it if you cross the pedestrian bridge from Aiken Riverside Park.
Yeah, it sounds like a great project. I know Champlin's really been hitting it off with their new Riverside Amphitheater, and I know some friends that will kayak through the Mississippi and then get on the Rum, get through Anoka, and that's a really fun thing that I've been wanting to try out.
Yeah, one of our goals in Anoka is to really have that circular path around the Rum River and really focus recreation along the Rum. It's hard to think that as a two-river town that it hasn't been as much of a focus, until probably the last 20 years or so. We're really trying to draw people down to the river with Riverfront Memorial Park and our concerts in the parks, of course. But with this new development with the trail on the west side, like I indicated, it's just phase one. But it's also, it provides people a unique opportunity to interact with the amphitheater. Before, you could only ever see it from Ferry Street. Now you'll be able to walk down below, see it from the riverside.
Cool.
There's some other things that'll be planned and coming along with the Riverwalk. We'll be adding benches. We'll be adding potentially a fishing pier or some kind of opportunity to interact directly with the river on that side as well. So,
awesome. Yeah, these all sound like really fun and meaningful upgrades that I'm sure the residents and non-residents will love. So that sounds great. Are there grant funds that are being used for this? Can you talk about that?
This project, we were lucky enough to receive a $200,000 grant from the Minnesota DNR through their local trails program. So that was part of the funding, and then the rest of the funding comes from the city, either through Park Capital or other transfers within the budget. So.
Awesome.
This has been a long time coming. Like I said, the planning phases began in 2016, and here we are in 2024 with the first phase substantially complete. It's walkable, it's usable.
Okay.
There'll be some additional landscape restoration and other pieces that'll be coming this fall yet. But yeah, people can get out and use it and see it and interact with the river now, and the amphitheater and the Stonehouse and the little Giddings Gardens area.
Yeah. I got to get to that side of the river more often.
Yeah,
I love
it's worth
Anoka.
it.
Yeah, they keep me in Champlin too much. I got to break free from the shackles and go check it out. But, speaking of this, one of the big staples in Anoka is the dam, right? Everybody's always asking about that. What's going on with the Rum River Dam modification?
Yeah, so one of the things I don't think people realize is that there's been a dam in Anoka since the mid-1800s.
Wow.
So one of the things that we're trying to do with the modification is keep it relevant as we move into the future. I'm sure people are aware that in other places across the country they're removing dams. We're hoping to not have to do that, so we want to keep it functional. It's still in good condition. There isn't any concern about its usefulness. So we're looking at ways to, like I said, make it kind of change with the times. One of the earlier iterations of the dam had a boat conveyor that they used to be able to move small watercraft up and down between the lower and upper Rum Rivers. And so one of the things we're looking at is converting the spillway into a lock feature, so that something even as a boat as large as a pontoon could potentially move between the upper and lower Rum River. It opens up boating opportunities and access to the Mississippi River for the residents upriver. It offers an opportunity for the residents downriver and users of the Mississippi to get up into the wild and scenic rum, which a lot of people might not even have seen or haven't been able to interact with. So that's one cool feature. So we're bringing back something from that used to exist back in the 1920s and 30s. Another cool thing, we're hoping to automate the dam. Right now we have a hand-placed flashboard system that creates the recreational pool above the dam, and we're hoping to add automated crest gates to that, which makes the operation and the controllability of it much better when it comes to heavy rains, winter ice melt for the spring, spring flooding, those sorts of things. Gives it basically push-button control over raising and lowering that level. And then kind of the neatest feature that came into play with our feasibility study was that kind of the buzz is all around, is the whitewater feature. Looking at whether or not we can create some sort of a wave riding type of feature that could be usable, and whether it's like a whitewater like you would see for canoe, kayak, or a standing surfing wave, or some kind of iteration of all three that could be as used by even somebody in an inner tube. So we're talking about something for all users, something that would be controllable. We'd be able to control the size and speed, that sort of thing. But all of it is, we're still in the very beginning stages. We did a feasibility study, and now we're getting into like the real design development, trying to really kind of vet everything out to make sure how those things would work together. And then of course we have to work through the permitting and all of those stages with the DNR and the applicable agencies to make sure that what we want to build is buildable and that they'll allow it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that you guys, like you mentioned, you're not going to take the dam out. You're going to take something that's existing and make it better. And yeah, I don't think I've ever been to the upper side. I've always just been to the lower, watching people fish on the dock. So the ability for people to get their boat up and go see the wildlife, like you mentioned, that's pretty cool.
The Upper Rum connects us to both the cities of Ramsey and Andover. So it's a great paddler part of the river. You can only go so far by boat, but if you paddle, you float, any of that, it's spectacular. You can take a day ride on an inner tube, put in at the county park, and float all the way down to the dam.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And the wave feature that you mentioned, I saw an image of that. I thought it was a photoshopped mock-up. I'm like, oh, that's real. That's really cool.
Yeah, they've done some. They did some pretty good hydro modeling kind of a thing, and came up with the renderings just so that people understand what we're talking about.
Right.
You don't hear a lot about inland surfing. People maybe in Duluth that surf on Lake Superior know a little bit more than maybe here in the metro. But it's really the whitewater provides so much opportunity. It could be used for a training facility for rescue, fire rescue, water rescue. It could be just a fun recreational feature for absolutely, and free. It's something that most of these kinds of facilities are fee admitted. And they are
the wave pools,
and belong to an aquatic center somewhere in the metro. And this would be something that people are not going to be charged to use, and so that's also incredibly unique and provides a great opportunity. We've got a lot of local support. And then also support within the legislature too. We've been very lucky to have a representative and a senator, both two senators, both working on this and helping us try to pull some funding together from the state level as well.
Great. Well, we have just a little bit more time, but before I cut you loose here, talk about a little bit of the restoration that's happening on the banks.
Yep. So. On the same side of the river where we just built the trail on the west bank there, we also have a riverbank restoration project that's getting ready to begin. We've had they're pretty tall bluffs there, and we've had some bank failure where trees and the soil has fallen into the river. So we're going to be adding some hard armoring, some rock, and bouldering and that sort of thing to try to fix that. One of the shocking things always with a riverbank restoration is the tree removal and things like that. And unfortunately, you have to do a little deconstruction before you can reconstruct. So it always looks a little worse, I think, before it gets better. And so I know that when we started removing trees and stuff, that always wakes people up like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? But we promise we're going to be making it better. We're trying to protect the resources above it and making sure that, as we reconstruct it, we're doing so with the river in mind and the residents in mind. We want to, we're trying to preserve water quality and functionality of the river, and make sure that we don't lose a historic stone path that exists on the Woodbury House property, and want to make sure that we're not just unnecessarily adding sediment into the river. So we're doing what's right by the river.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So that project is actually just going to start here. We're waiting for the water levels to come down after these rains we've just had. But the contractors should be seeing a lot of activity around the riverbank again here in the next week or so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Those sound like some tremendous projects happening in Anoka. And thanks for all your hard work you do for the city of Anoka. And thanks for dropping by in Ramsey today and being part of the show. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. All right. Now we're going to go to a video on Anoka water and sewer maintenance that Billy Austin put together. Let's check it out.
In the city of Anoka, the city's sewer and water maintenance are currently in the middle of their busiest year on record, and today I met up with them on one of their recurring projects, replacing residential lead and galvanized water lines across the city.
The reason we're doing this is the federal government has given grant money to the state that gives to the cities to replace all the galvanized water lines. The reason they're replacing galvanized water lines, they were hooked to the water main with a lead gooseneck at one time. what the federal rule is, if this is ever hooked to a lead gooseneck or a lead line, the galvanized is considered lead for life. Just because they remove the gooseneck doesn't eliminate the lead service.
This EPA rule change, coined the Lead and Copper Rule Revision, was implemented in order to reduce exposure to harmful substances in lead and galvanized water lines and uplift clean drinking water standards.
I believe the rule changed. You could go to copper lines in '83, in that time frame. Most of your older homes, like we're in a neighborhood here where the houses were built in the 40s. We're finding any time that they're built before the 50s is where most of these galvanized service lines are. So when we do this, we dig a hole out here by the curb stop, and then inside we'll find the water service line, break a hole in the concrete floor, dig down, find the 90 on the water line, cut the street side of 90 off, and feed a cable through. This cable will come outside here, and we pull the new water line in as we pull the old one out, and then hook it up. Usually takes about 4 hours per service. The total cost of this whole project to a homeowner is typically zero. The only cost to the homeowner is if your water meter is in a cabinet or something like that where we don't have good access to it. You have to give us good access to that meter. That's the only cost there really is. And then to water the grass when we're done.
It is important for all residents to be knowledgeable and aware of this EPA standard and to check their own water lines and let the city know if you need replacement.
What they can do, they go down to their water line in the basement, and I need to know what they have for a water line coming from through the floor or through the wall before it gets to the meter. They can take a magnet to it. If a magnet sticks to it, it's most likely a galvanized line. Or they can scratch it and see if it turns to silver. Or if it's a copper line, it will have a copper like a penny look. And if it's plastic, you'll be able to tell it's plastic. They can call me at my office. My office number is 763-576-2924. That's the easiest way to do it right now. We did have a QR code that we sent out to everybody that we suspected of having a galvanized service line. Sent out several flyers, door knocked, and that's also called people if we had their phone number.
Well, that's it. That is a wrap on Live and Local Spotlight on Public Works and Utilities. And throw in a little bit of parks, too, because we don't want to forget about our park systems in our 4 cities that we cover here. But anyways, thank you to all the guests. Thank you to all the producers and everybody behind the scenes that put together this show today. And until next time, we'll see you on the next Live and Local.